Thanks for staying with us, and a special welcome to you on Hot 102 FM and on the internet at cvmtv.com. CVM News has received information from highly placed sources that a contract killing has been placed on the head of the family members of Clive Lizard Williams, the man for whose murder entertainer Vybz Kartel and the co-accused have been convicted. We understand that this hit has been out for some time now. We are told the suspect has been held in connection with the reported hit job. The threat level against the family is said to be high following yesterday's guilty verdict handed down to 4 of the 5 accused. We were informed that the family is fearful and that the security forces have taken note of the matter.
And the police are still working on a case against one of the jurors in the nearly 5-month-long murder trial. It was revealed last evening that one of the 11 jurors, a male, has been held by the police for allegedly trying to pervert the course of justice by bribing other jurors. The jury returned a 10-1 guilty verdict against 4 of the accused men. His name has not yet been released, but he could face a maximum of 3 years sentence if found guilty. We were, however, told that the police worked late into last night, taking statements from other jurors as they begin to build a case against the accused juror. In January, it was brought to the attention of the judge that one of the jurors had interacted with the defense lawyers during the Christmas break. That interaction was, however, dismissed by the judge as an innocent interaction.
Now, the 4 convicted men learned of their fate yesterday evening after a relatively short period of deliberation. Dwayne Anderson recaps yesterday's developments in the case.
As news spread sometime after 5:30 p.m. that the jury would return with a verdict, persons from all parts of the Supreme Court flocked to the courtroom. There was not even standing room inside the court. Director of Public Prosecutions Paula Llewellyn joined her team, hoping her office would capture this massive scalp. Whispers could be heard from the defense bench that would bust a case. At 5:43 p.m., exactly 2 hours after the judge ended his summation, the jury said they had reached a verdict in respect of the accused man Adidja Vybz Kartel Palmer. The verdict, as read out by the foreman, was that the decision was 10-1. However, they were prevented from saying whether it was guilty or not guilty, because the jury had not taken at least 2 hours, as prescribed under the Jury Act, to return with a unanimous guilty verdict. The judge asked them to once more retire. About 20 minutes later, the accused were brought back. 2 minutes later, the jury returned. They were asked by the court reporter if they had reached a verdict in respect of the accused man Adidja Vybz Kartel Palmer. They said yes, but they were divided 10-1. But the majority was in agreement that Vybz Kartel was guilty. There was a momentary hush, followed by shrieks of yes from the prosecution bench. Kartel's facial response to his fate, a blank, expressionless look. Sean Storm, whose correct name is Sean Campbell, was handed a similar fate as his Gaza boss, a 10-1 guilty verdict. His reaction, a serious stare at the judge. A similar guilty verdict, decided by 10 jurors to 1, was read for Andre Madsu St. John and Kahira Kyra Jones. Interestingly, Andre St. John, known as Madsus in the Gaza Empire, was the only one who cried. Shane Williams, who was labeled most unfortunate in this case, was found not guilty. That label is because he said he had no idea why he was even before the court. The judge said to him, "You may go." He stood and said, "Thank you, my lord." However, we understand his walk to freedom might be cut short, as it was revealed he has another serious matter before the court. The judge then thanked the jurors for their seriousness in dealing with the case and said, quote, "You could not have done anything else on this evidence." He then dismissed the jurors, instructing them that vehicles had been assigned to transport them home. Before the jurors were even allowed to leave, Paula Llewellyn informed the judge that one of the jurors was to be questioned and even charged in relation to a breach in this trial. The breach is said to be perverting the course of justice. Sentencing in the matter of the murder conviction for the 4 men is set for March 27.
So Kartel, when you there? I see him thing, man. You know the name thing. When shot at that shield, we no empty no shield. We fly, we no peep too real. Me have the war seal. Me liar a big Queen's Council, so me never worry about it.
Dwayne Anderson, CVM News.
As expected, there were very low vibes in Kartel's Waterford home ground last night. Our reporter Camille Gale was there.
The familiar chants echoed across the area in Portmore, widely known as the Gaza, under the watchful eyes of the police, mere minutes before the verdict. As the news came, early signs of disbelief etched on the faces of those sharing the guilty verdict via telephone. As disbelief slowly turned into faint acceptance that Vybz Kartel would not be walking out of court a free man, the police stepped up their patrol of the Gaza Strip, telling residents to go home.
Residents of Waterford, please disperse, no gathering, and go to your place of abode. We would like to have peace and tranquility in this community. Please disperse and go to your place of abode.
As reality sank in, the residents of Waterford were in a somber mood as many openly contemplated what would Gaza City be like with Vybz Kartel staring at life behind bars.
All the youth them are going to feel Sister Kartel not come road and them baby mother not come. And baby mother and youth them they are road. And them are going to feel bad. See me DJ want come on road. See me bend.
Some of the ardent Kartel fans we spoke with were not too sympathetic to the fact that Lizard was dead. While we do not promote their thinking, we believe it important for the society to hear it.
Him not kill a liar, him don't kill a judge, him not kill no tapanized policeman. The man where him kill is a man where him and run up and down every day together. We are do them wrong, them should have overlooked it and give it. I mean, that is not... Him have him kids them, him have him wife, him have him family. It's too harsh.
The police patrol in Waterford and other areas of Portmore where there were heightened fears of violence continued into the night. Meanwhile, Kartel supporters gathered at the DJ's mother's house in Portmore where they vented at the justice system.
You can't take my phone and then when you tamper with my phone, they will come now and say you find me guilty. That's something really for cook. A whole heap of cook. That is a cook-up thing. That him don't get a fair trial.
This stuff will call over back, I swear down. After we call over back, them a fight the man. The man doesn't know that the society a fight him. Them don't get a fair trial and this need to go over back. Because you can't tamper with a man's phone and you have the man lock up, And meanwhile the man lock up, you have the man phone, I put on where you want put on it, and I do what you want do. And after all of that you ever want sentence the man? No man! Right now we're mad!
One of Kartel's cousins says family members were still trying to understand why Vybz Kartel was convicted.
We are sad, people are crying, and we are very upset at this moment. We realize that there's no justice, and what it is to why they have to be doing this thing. It's not fair.
We all think that somebody tried to frame him for whatever reason. They want to get rid of him. And I believe that if he was coming from another prominent family, they wouldn't have treated him this way. The family would go to the courthouse and they handle us like dogs, like we are nobody, and this is wrong. And we need a retrial.
So as Vybz Kartel's family slowly comes to grip with his guilty verdict this evening, they're saying that they still believe that it was a conspiracy and the system was out to get him. They are looking forward to the appeal. Reporting from Waterford in Portmore, St. Catherine, I'm Camille Gale for CVM News.
Now looking at the other side of the families, our news team has sought answers about the murder victim Clive Lizard Williams. Just who was he?
These pictures are that of the man Clive Williams, given the name Lizard for his love of dancing. He would have been 30 years old on April 11 this year. He has not been seen since August 16, 2011, the day he travelled with Sean Storm and the Star Witness to Swallowfield to answer a summons from Vybz Kartel about 2 missing shoes or guns. Over 20 bodies were looked at, as the lead investigator Vernal Thompson searched in vain for the missing man. A text obtained from Kartel's phone might explain that exercise in futility. The text read, "Tweet me a chap who chop up the boy lizard, fine. As long as you live, you'll never find him." In the words of Justice Lennox Campbell, Lizard was no angel because he was a man who locked guns. But this correspondence sent to our newsroom by family members quoted him as a law-abiding citizen before he met members of the Gaza Empire, who was lured into the company of those men with a promise of fame and fortune, especially Sean Storm, who promised to boss him. The correspondence also said he was very friendly, fun-loving, and always smiling. He was also very quick to give a helping hand to family members and anyone in the community who called on him. He was very hard-working, always trying to get a job when he was out of work. He has worked at Pizza Delight, a security company, the Quad, and part-time at the NWC with a contractor. For his sister Stephanie Breckenridge, who broke down in tears as she testified about the man she always texted, he was a brother. And for Anika Jackson, his girlfriend, he was Boo. The sister, who was present in court on Thursday evening as the verdict was read, again broke down in tears, perhaps feeling that some sense of justice has been served. Dwayne Anderson, CVM News.
Now, persons on social websites also had their say about the guilty verdict handed down to Kartel and the other men. Julian on Facebook said, "Buju sings, Banton of course, about drug dealing, later convicted for intending to deal. Kartel sings about guns and murder, later convicted of murder. Which is it, life imitating art or art imitating life?" Clara also on Facebook asks, "Is it possible that there is any hope left for the Jamaican people? Instead of protesting for more and better jobs, better education system so that more children can attend school and all the other social and economic problems affecting the country, these idiots are protesting, saying they want justice for Vybz Kartel. Is Kartel putting food on your table for you and your family?" And Shadane said, "Longest case but shortest deliberation. Jurors weren't looking at the evidence. What they are looking at is Kartel." And Jessica said, "Addy Amidadi. And without Addy, there is no Gaza, and without teacher, there's no school."
And our news team also gauged the impact of yesterday's trial on sections of the busy downtown commercial district near the Supreme Court. Here's Damon Phillips.
The police were leaving nothing to chance, brought out the riot squad, armored vehicles, mountain troop, beefing up security for the media, judges, lawyers, and everyone involved.
We have this defensive posture. It was thought about. It is the best way to go. Persons won't try to rush the Supreme Court building or do harm to anybody or themselves. I definitely don't share that sentiment. This isn't a race of resources. If we had come out in a very thin posture and anything happens, then persons would have been saying, you have the equipment stuck up in mobile reserve when you could have brought them out to protect and defend our city. This definitely is not a waste of resource.
Opposition spokesman on national security Derek Smith was in agreement with the police high command rolling out the resources as they did. Some have said it showed the might and influence of a dancehall artist who gained admiration from many, even if it's for the wrong reason. But doing all that had implications for the commuting public, pedestrians, and business community. Commerce was significantly impacted. Owners, having closed half day on Wednesday, would have been looking forward to recover financially on Thursday, but customers stayed clear of the area out of fear.
Well, it's very bad on business, because customers are not able to come inside because of the crowd on the outside. And they're scared of being downtown also. So it affects business a lot. We don't have nothing much to do. All staff are out, but we're just here, I don't know. But